America.
Only in America.
Only in America.
Only in America.
Only America.
Only in America.
This week, faith and soccer combined to support refugee youth.
I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was just a normal guy. But I had like a big dream to change the world. And that's all it took.
From the National Immigration Forum, I'm Ali Noorani, and this is Only in America. The Olympics are here, and we're all watching sports. Well, in Bowling Green, Kentucky, soccer has created community in a unique and meaningful way. Our guests today are Terri, Sheldon, and Bosco Tuyisenge, who have worked together to create a soccer tournament for refugee children. The tournament was named the Curbside Cup after Curbside Ministries, a mobile outreach organization that sponsored the tournament. Terri is Curbside's co-founder.
After 5 kiddos, God truly called me into ministry, and that would be street ministry, and that takes on its own story, a life of its own. But ultimately, it was just going down the bypass one day, which is one of the main strips in our city, and saw an old ice cream truck, and I thought, you know what? That would be awesome, just to get an old ice cream truck and get out and hang with kids, build relationships, and ultimately share the gospel with them. So that's exactly what happened, but it did not come easily as, like I said, my husband being a businessman, everything, I had to have all my ducks in a row, and that was not fun, but we did it. And so now, post 10 years, we've been on the streets sharing the love of Jesus. But that's the quick version of from pharmacy school to raising kids at home. I became a stay-at-home mom until God called me into ministry.
Bosco is an immigrant himself. He met Terri through Curbside when he was a young boy.
I was born in Rwanda, and the story for that is pretty simple and quick. We got the tickets to come here. I believe in the refugee camp. I'm not very sure. My parents don't like to really go into details about it, but I think we were in like refugee camps, and then we got the tickets to come here, and we got here. We got in touch with a lot of people that we knew back in Africa. They helped us out. We got in touch with people like Miss Terri that run Curbside, and that just helped our childhood run smoothly. It felt there was so much fun and joy.
So then tell me, from your perspective, Terri, how you and Bosco met and kind of the beginning of, of wrapping what you do around sports.
I tell you what, it's been a journey, and it's not always an easy journey. Bosco's one of those kiddos that came into the foe early, like he said, really, really early. And because we're a street ministry of sorts, we just kind of land in their neighborhoods, wherever they're living. And he was one that was easy to build a relationship with, because he was just always involved, always happy, very pleasant, just excited to be there. And that is not always the case. So we built a really good relationship when he was younger. But then as those teenage years, middle school years would unfold, he became less and less, of course, interested, or just didn't show up as much, just didn't hang out, come around. Fine, you come to expect that. If you've had kids, you kind of know their head game. So no big deal. And then just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he comes back around, which is what we're seeing a few do, not as many. But then when he did come back around, he just came back around all hands on deck, and just jumped right back in and just started volunteering and doing ministry. And it's just been beautiful to see and watch.
And then, after some time away from the ministry to explore other interests, Bosco returned and is now a volunteer and co-founder of the Curbside Cup.
They are in street ministry, and they minister to now 3 different neighborhoods. But whenever I went to Curbside back in the days, it was 2 different neighborhoods, and I went to the Parker Bennett one. And what happened was I moved away from the Park Bennett neighborhood. But after I moved away from that neighborhood, I didn't really have a right to go to curbside. And so I just forgot about it all in itself. I just forgot about it. And then I'd see Terri from time to time, and that's how we got back together. And so I was at work one day, and at that week, me and my friend, we I don't know, we had just been brainstorming of ways we could like get involved in the community because um I don't know, we had just like grown like a passion for that. And I was at work, and that's just where I do my best thinking. And it just all came to me because I was always at Lee Point. That's where a lot of my boys lived, and there was so much kids there. And then I just put two and two together. I was like, hey, we should start a soccer tournament. We should put on a soccer tournament for the kids. And that's exactly how it started. I told my friend Quentin that, and that's from there it just expanded and expanded. The kids that have the same background as me, they're all refugees. They live in the low income communities, and they basically have the same experiences as me. And that's what's so beautiful because I know where they came from, and I am them. And that's what allows me to connect with them so much better because I know who they are. So right then and there, I'm already in their head. I know the motive behind their actions, and if their actions aren't like pure, I can go in and correct them using their own language.
And do they look up to you for advice? As an elder.
Yeah, yeah. I just started, so some of them tend to uh, some of them tend to like kind of like reject authority, kind of. But the little ones definitely do. Whenever I first started coming there, I didn't really know much faces, but quickly I started making new friends, and I just see it in their face every time I show up to curbside. They start smiling, want to interact with me, want to do all this stuff with me. When the little ones like to take my hand and just take me places. They like they like just like just a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, to answer your question, I think that they're starting to look up to me, and which is why I make it a goal to show up every day so they can get used to seeing my face.
Goodness, it's just so fun to hear Bosco talk because it moves me. I get very excited when he came to me and mentioned it. I think he reached out through Facebook and said something just very brief, very short, sweet, and said, "Miss Terry, what do you think about doing a soccer tournament at Lee Point? I want to give back." And I was pumped right out of the get go. And I think he'll probably tell you that because that's the goal. One of part of our slogan is, meeting people just right where they are. And he wanted to do that. I mean, and he was going to take it to the next level. So that's your goal in any kind of work, any kind of philanthropy or, mission work. You want those same people to circle back and do exactly what you're doing. And when he said that, I was just like, okay. And knowing that culture, yes, they're all soccer. So when he did that, I said, yes, we're in. What's next? You want to do it? What are we going to do next? And I think he and I both were just clueless, to be very honest with you. He wanted to do it. Wanted to support him in his endeavors, but neither one of us had done anything like that before. And we just roll with it. He had a list just immediately. The first meeting, I connected with him and a friend, and he just had his list of what he felt like needed to happen and how it needed to happen. And we truly just came alongside and supported, his dream, his vision. And it was awesome. So, so awesome.
Both Bosco and Terry believe this soccer tournament is facilitating positive change in Bowling Green.
Yeah, most definitely. Basically, in Bowling Green, the way it's shaped, well, everywhere. everybody is around their own separate groups. Like, so the high income communities are, they're around their groups and they hang around with their groups, and they're around people that are just like them. And that goes the same thing for like the middle class and like the low income community. Everybody's just around like people that are around them. And whenever you see stuff like this on TV, it just kind of like shows you the type of people that live with you. And although you want to be around people that are like you, I think it's very important that we acknowledge people that are like different from us, kids that don't have the same opportunities as our kids do. And I think it's a very imperative that like that's taken into consideration. And that's exactly what the Curbside Cup did.
Bosco said it best with the diversity. There's always that diversity, and to no fault of a lot of people, the division or the divide is there, but a lot of it is just people are not educated. But then again, when you see someone like Bosco come along, you can see why my heart's cry is so in his corner, because he is the change. I can, as a white woman, I can go out there all day long and do what we do, but the influence and the impact that's going to make is not there. It's just not. And anybody that knows me knows that. Bosco knows that. It's just like he says, yeah, they're going to grab my hand when I hit the streets, but I'm not going to have 15 grab my hand. I mean, Bosco is the change. He and his, anyone that has grown up the way he's grown up, they will be able to make the real change. So I will say with this Curbside Cup, though, he has gotten a lot of publicity. And because of that, yes, I got another call this week and I loved hearing it. Had nothing to do with soccer, had everything to do with the area he's talking about, the people that hire. It's a workforce here in our town, Trace Diecast. They hire a lot of those refugee moms and dads, and they want to do something. They want to join hips with us and do something specific for that community. Well, I'm going to tell you, that's not happened before this. We've been doing street ministry now almost 11 years, and just this one thing I think has brought attention to the whole. And again, I think that's going to close the gap, because these are people that can join hips with us and want to do. And so my goal is with that would be to help the adults. Okay, great. I want to do kind of a back to school bash thing. Bosco will be huge in that, but we do it for the kids. But now, how can we affect these adults? And then how can we bring in more of the adults, so to speak, from the other side? To see and meet and be a part of that. But uh, Bosco's it. He really is. He's one of those that's come along at the perfect time to help make the change.
After such a successful program, Bosco and Terry are excited about the future of Curbside and their own potential to make change.
It's like a domino. So whenever I was young, I was a domino, and Miss Terry, she got her energy, she put it into me, and she pushed the domino. And luckily, I'm the domino that fell across to the next domino. So it's about just continuing the cycle, making the world a better place, one push at a time. So at that soccer cup, at the soccer cup that we had, I was the leading domino, pushing different dominoes, And this is life. This isn't like an instant push. This is an instant push. It's gonna be a while till those dominoes that I'm trying to push lean over and push the next domino. But that's essentially what we try to do.
I tell you, it is very, very moving and inspiring. I mean, you work so hard at something for so long, And it's been a journey. And then for someone like Bosco to come along and grab hold and embrace the idea, the original idea, and then want to continue to further it, yeah, it's huge. It's just huge because I'm not going to lie, ministry's exhausting. It's very time consuming. And you always wonder if what you're doing matters. Is it making a difference? Are we making a difference? Is anybody listening? We can only do as much as our volunteers want to do. We are the vessel, and that's the thing I encourage all our volunteers. We really are just a vessel. We give you a means to meet kids and families in such a clean environment and space. But what you do with that, that's yours. Whatever ministry evolves from that, that's on you. And that's where Bosco, he saw a need and wanted to fill it. And there we go.
I'm going to be most proud of the fact that I I was just a regular guy. Whenever a lot of people look at stuff like this, whenever my friends look at me, they tend to take me out of proportion and just put me on this pedestal as if I'm some higher being, like I'm some superior being. No, what I like to tell people, I am a normal guy. And in 30 years, if I were to look back, I I would be proud of the fact that a normal guy had the audacity to pull this off. I was a normal guy. I worked at Walmart. I think that's as normal as it gets, right? I think that's as normal as it gets. I was no, like, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was just a normal guy, but I had a big dream to change the world, and that's all it took. And I was able to pull something far beyond my imagination. I couldn't have imagined it. Like the way that I thought the cup was going to be and the way that it actually happened was just so different. I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful. And I'm very proud of that.
Our guests today were Terri Sheldon and Jean Bosco Tuyisenge. You can read more about each of these week's guests in Curbside Ministries at our website, immigrationforum.org/podcast. If you like what you hear, take a second, please subscribe to Only in America wherever you're listening to this episode. Only in America is produced and edited by Julia Brutti, Katie Lutz, Joanna Taylor, and Becca Wall. Our artwork and graphics are designed by Carla Leha. I'm Alini Rani, and I will talk to you next week.
Support for the National Immigration Forum comes from the Carnegie Corporation of New York, supporting innovations in education, democratic engagement, and strengthening international peace and security. And from Humanity United. When humanity is united, we can bring a powerful force for human dignity.